let's break it down, because do you know Assassin's Creed hit 2 million players? If you didn't know, the game's media is bound to let you know. All of them are letting you know. But we have to put some context into this, because it's not as quite as what they're making it out to be. Like, for example, right? Let's break down the language. So IGN, Assassin's Creed hits 2 million players 2 days after release. Ubisoft says now it surpasses Origin and Odyssey's launch. Press X to doubt. Assassin's Creed Shadow hits 2 million players, says PC Gamer, putting it on track to be the series' most successful game yet. Push X to doubt. PC Gamer, after Ubisoft came crawling back to Steam, Assassin's Creed blasts past 1 million players in under 24 hours and has already smashed Valhalla's record. Interesting. We'll get to that. PC Games Radar, Assassin's Creed reaches 1 million players on day one and sounds like even Ubisoft is having a tough time believing it. Yeah, we're all having a tough time believing it. Don't you worry. Then we got Assassin's Creed has already passed a player count of milestones. Now, the interesting thing here is, right, I've just typed in Assassin's Creed hit 2 million players, and all of them seem to have the very similar headlines. It's like they're all a Borg collective. But let's go through and let's debunk this first one here, because we're here, and then we'll break down the article, right? So, was it this one? Having a tough time? No. 2 million. Hang on, I'm trying to find the one where it talks about Steam. Here. After Ubisoft came crawling back to Steam, Assassin's Creed Shadow blasts past 1 million players in 24 hours and has already smashed Valhalla's player record. Right, so that's interesting. That's an interesting one. Right, well, so Valhalla on Steam. So when was Valhalla released on console and Steam? Let's just have a quick look. Let's have a quick look-see here. I haven't checked it out myself, but I'm guessing the results are going to be about a couple of months in difference, right? So Assassin's Creed Valhalla was released on PlayStation, Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X, and Stadia on November the 10th, 2020. The Assassin's Creed Valhalla was initially an Epic Store exclusive until December, when it was released on Steam. Wow, that is interesting. So it's like there was like just under a month's difference between when Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out on PlayStation, Xbox, and you know what, before it came out on Steam. So when you turn around and you say that it's blast past Valhalla's 24-hour player record on Steam, it's a little bit disingenuous, right? Because what you're saying is, and what you've failed to say, is that Valhalla was delayed on Steam by 24 hours, so the vast majority of people would have gone out and brought it on PlayStation, Xbox, or whatnot. And then about a month later, it's come out on Steam, and it didn't do as well as it would have on consoles, because Assassin's Creed is a mostly console game. Let's see if they go through and they mention that. Ubisoft specifies players rather than sales here. Interesting you mentioned that. We'll get to that in a point. First is that a few of these Shinobi would have accessed the game via their Ubisoft subscription instead of buying the game outright. The second, and I'm making an assumption here, is that Ubisoft delight in making my life specifically hard. It's never consent and blah 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 blah. Right, okay. So, do you remember, sorry, not that, fine. So you don't mention that it came out a month later. No, you don't seem to. Maybe it's somewhere buried in the article that I'm not going to read. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's interesting that they don't mention that. Because at the end of the day, I would have thought that would have been something to maybe put a little bit of context into. Maybe, but maybe not. But anyway, let's get into the actual main news, which is Assassin's Creed hits 2 million players. And this is something that they do mention here, is that they talk about players and sales are different. So, hit 2 million players 2 days after release. It has passed Origins and Odyssey's launches. So, Ubisoft hailed another Shadows Cream player milestone, but has yet to confirm sales figures for the game. Wonder why? In a social media post, Shadows has seen 2 million players since gone on sale March 20th, up from 1 million day one. That's enough to surpass the launch of both Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Ubisoft added. Thank you for joining the feudal Japan. Now, like I said, interesting that you're talking here about players and not sales, considering the fact that Ubisoft was giving out keys to this game like it was candy. But also, this is something that they mention here, is that there is a big difference between sales and players. Right? It's an impressive start for Assassin's Creed Shadow, but it's worth bearing in mind that Ubisoft is yet to announce the sales figures for the game. We still do not know the top-selling game on Steam, where Ubisoft recently returned after years of launching on the Epic Store. At the time of this article publication, Assassin's Creed Shadow was on the 58,894 concurrent players on Steam, enough to break in the top 30 most played games on Valve's platform. That peak is expected to rise and will continue into the game's opening weekend. Spoiler alert, it didn't do much better than that. So if we go in here and we type in Assassin's Creed Shadows, right, and we look at the game at the moment, the all-time peak was 24 or 22 hours ago, and that was at 64,000 players. That's not good. I'm sorry if you're a fanboy of Ubisoft, that is not good at all. This game has cost anywhere from $300 to $450 million. And the most that you've got for concurrent players is 64,000. Holy shit. Compared to Black Myth Wukong, by the way, that still has over 30,000 players right now. 35 in the past 24 hours. Its top players was 7 months ago with 2.4 million players. And they didn't have to give out a whole bunch of keys. You look at the rating for this, 95.9. And if you go back to Assassin's Creed, review is 70.89. It still says very positive, but you know. But at the end of the day, yeah, I would say at the end of the day, like, this is not well. And this is sort of the difference, right? When you start talking about players. For example, my game that I'm making at the moment. If I was to go through and I was to sign a deal with Xbox and PlayStation where they put it on Game Pass for free, right? Yes, I can sit there and say that I've got 2 million players. Great. How much money did you make from it? Well, you know, it was on Xbox or PlayStation for free, so nothing. So, yeah. And then the very next question is, right, how are you going to pay the dev team? Say you have 20,000 employees. Hypothetically. We'll just use that number, random. Don't know where I got it from, but say we've got 20,000 employees. How are you going to pay the dev team? Are those 2 million players that you got on PlayStation or Xbox, are they going to feed the dev team? Are they going to pay their wages? No. Right, okay. So how are you planning on paying them? Well, I'm going to sell my ass on a street corner and hopefully make $2 million. Because that would have to be your answer, right? And this is the thing that Ubisoft is doing at the moment. They are concentrating on players. No one cares about how many players you've got. That's great, you got 2 million. But how many people actually brought this game? And considering, we'll do our new thing that we're starting to do, which is paint. For example, right? Let's say this circle here represents the sales for Assassin's Creed. Right, so yeah, and we'll put a little bit of text in, and we'll put Assassin's Creed Shadows sales. Like that, right? There you go. It's all, well, okay, anyway. So, say for example, what are the options? You've got Xbox, PlayStation, right? So these are paid. Then you've got Xbox. I don't know if it's on subscription for Xbox. Is it on Game Pass? Let me check. I think it might be. Assassin's Creed is not available on Game Pass at launch. And no Game Pass. Alright, so it's not. Right, okay. So we'll go back to our thing, right? Alright, so that's paid, Xboxes, right. So then you've got Ubisoft Premium. Right? By the way, this is subscription. Right, let's put sub. Right, and what else have you got? You got free keys. You got Steam, which is paid. Right, so yeah, it's probably about it, right? We'll just stick with that. Now, say for example, I imagined, and this is how I'm suspecting it's probably gonna go. I would say the vast majority, so to say for example to there, right, and I would say that it's probably a bit like that. Right now, I would say, we'll say this is, oops, Phil. We'll say that's Xbox and that's PlayStation. Right. And then here you've got probably, like that would probably be keys. We'll give that red because, you know, they're bad. Like that. You probably have Steam and Ubisoft sub, right? Still. Actually, that's not right. Hang on. I stuffed it up, didn't I? So the center is in the middle. So it is about here. Oops. So we'll put a circle. I was wondering why it looks so wrong. Right, and then right there. That's good enough. Right, so out of this here, I would say from there, and we'll put this as blue. So from there to there, I would say that's probably PlayStation. Right, there, and then we do another line which would probably go from there to, let's go say from there to there, and that's probably not that big actually. I would say, yeah, I would say it's probably there for Xbox. Right, so we go to our little, where's our little filler? So that's probably Xbox. I would say that's probably PlayStation. It's probably more PlayStation than Xbox, right? PlayStation players at the moment. Now, after that, we now have, so that's them gone. So green line is Xbox paid, and the blue line is PlayStation paid, right? Now we have Ubisoft sub. So we'll put a line through that. Like that. Paint is so much difficult than it needs to be. Right, and then that's green, right? Okay. Now, let's do red for the free keys. Now, there was a lot of free keys given out, right? So, let's say we'll do orange for Steam. Steam paid. Is like that, right? So let's say we go from there to, say, there. There's probably Steam paid. I would say probably like that. And then after that, I would say that for red, and then we want to go through and we want to fill it like that. And then we'll put a line through Ubisoft subs, and then red, sorry. And then we'll put a red line, a yellow line through free keys, and it was probably like that. That's roughly how I think it went. This is the breakdown, right? There's one problem. Free keys is no money. The Steam paid is. The Ubisoft Premium is $15 per month. Like that. The Xbox is full price. The the PlayStation is full price. And the Steam is full price minus refunds, by the way. And this is also not including, right, minus refunds. And this one here is also minus refunds as well. So at the end of the day, this is what represents 2 million players. Now they're getting $40 or $50 here, $40 or $50 here. Less than that here, because they've got to go through and gave his cut. The game itself, we worked out, it was about $100 Australian or about $70 or $80 US. He takes 30%. So let's work this in US dollars, right? It's 70 times 0 by 3.3 is 21. So 70 minus 21 is $49. So they make $49 per sale. Here. We're not sure about this. We're not sure about this. And this is $15 per month. So you're starting to see, like, yeah, it's good to say you got players, but for a start, this one is only $15 per month. This one is no money. This one you're only getting $50 per sale, and these you're probably getting about $50 or $60 a sale as well. Now, you also got to take out refunds, right? So they might have had 2 million people buy it and play it, or turned it up or booted it up for an hour, and then refunded the money. And by the way, some of these were not sold. Like I said, there were a lot of keys and Ubisoft Premium that were given out. So, yeah, like I say, at the end of the day, it's not necessarily good news. Like, that's what they keep saying. It's like 2 million players. If you go to their X account, and Horsby Horan, and you go to Assassin's Creed. And here, 2 million players. And by the way, we haven't got an update since then, by the way. They're like, this guy literally says, I've only played 6 hours. So deserved, right, yep. Oh, we work in the shadows, deserved, yep, okay. 2 million, that's great. Some record at ACD, congrats. What metrics have been used for subscription services? How many units have actually been sold? This is where we're starting to get like the people asking questions. LOL, and only 50 concurrent streamers, stockpile dropped, 2 million players don't equate to 2 million units sold. Remember people, they never say sold, they only celebrate players. The free-to-play game is not worth $60, blah, blah, blah. People are just, congrats, most integrated company is such a massive success despite the weirdos campaigning against it. You're an idiot. Are you counting downloads added to the library on Ubi Premium as players, or even if they played yet? And by the way, one of my mates I was playing COD with last night, he got Ubisoft Premium for free because he's paid for a certain game, Ubisoft games, for so many years. LOL is only 50k on stream. 2 million equals account logins. 2 million doesn't mean sales. I like the fact he didn't put that, which is code. He must be a coder. But like I say, at the end of the day, if you go to the stock price for Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft stock price, it's not doing well. To say the least, at least it's better than it was. Yeah. But then you go over the 5 years and you could use that as a hype map. But guys, let me know your thoughts there in the comment section below. Like I say, do not believe it when they say 2 million players, because that is players, that's not sold, that doesn't mean anything. And look, it's, if you're an indie dev, 50,000 concurrent players on Steam would be great. If you're an established franchise that has put out, 6 or 7 games by now, it's a well-known IP, and you can't break 100k on a weekend, it might be time to reconsider your storytelling abilities. But guys, let me know your thoughts in that comment section below. If the video's been helpful, please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. And I might even play your Sake Simulator actually in about an hour or so. Have a great night and enjoy.